All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. It is Greg Milby with Kentucky's Heartland. Welcome to Weather Now, Kentucky. You've seen George all day, so it's time to get another ugly face to look at for at least a little bit. George is with us there in the up the upper corner. Right there in the middle is Chris Denham with the Elizabethtown Police Department, and we brought the gaggle of officials from Hardin County government to talk about everything that's going on. It's the best I could describe you guys. Is that all right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, George, we're going to start with you because that's where a lot of folks are thinking about and talking about right now. Give us an update on the weather.
Yeah, man. So start with the radar here, and then we'll wrap up with our forecast that we've shown you guys a couple times. Not many changes to it, but there is one little change we made, and we'll show that here in just a moment. But for those of you, of course, I'm George Harbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to our broadcast here. I do want to start with the radar once again, and you'll see across the WeatherWise radar here we have pretty much the same situation that we've dealt with all day. And that's a bit intriguing because at this point, the freezing line for the rain versus freezing rain should have already been up toward Beaver Dam and Litchfield, according to data from that we saw last night, this morning. And heck, even the data that we're seeing now is still trying to be stubborn and show that freezing line up there. However, we do know that there's still ongoing freezing rain in places like Morgantown, Beaver Dam, and Central City, because when we go to look at the temperatures, you're still hovering right around freezing. A lot of you are 33 or 32. In order to get that rain to start transitioning into regular rain, we have to go a little bit above 33. Again, it's falling down on snow-packed roads or snow-packed surfaces, or already sleet surfaces, or already ice-covered surfaces. So even if it's coming down at slightly above freezing rain, when it hits the ground, it will freeze upon the other frozen products that are already there. That said, for places like Hardin County, you're still hovering around 30.8 degrees. Been kind of going back and forth between 31 and 30 flat. Going up here to the north here, looks like you're still in the low 20s up there. So it should still be some ongoing snow, maybe some sleet mixing in as well. Over here to the central eastern portions of the state, still in your mid to upper 20s there. Over here to your northwestern portion of the state toward Henderson and Daviess County, still in your 31 there for your temperature. So on and so forth. Again, we've mentioned it so many times. Absolutely comes down to half a degree. 1 degree. In some cases, like we did the analysis earlier, it's coming down to 0.2 degrees. Every little tenth of a degree is making a difference in this system, and it's keeping a lot of folks, like we said on the radar here, as a really good mix of sleet and freezing rain, or in some cases, like in Hardin County and Breck and Meade and going down to Grayson and portions to the south of the parkways, you're still as a pure freezing rain. I want to switch this over real quickly and show you the precipitation rate at which is coming down. So some tougher spots in there, like, for example, down toward Hardinsburg, up here for Jeffersontown and Taylorsville, even some spots in central Hardin County, some tougher rainfall rates there for your frozen rain. Even down here toward Bowling Green and places like Greenville, going over toward I-169 corridor over there, still coming down pretty tough, right? And then we go back out here to the west and see what's happening behind us, and we still have more precipitation behind us to go. So I do want to give you an unfortunate message that the freezing rain window is really just now opening. We still have several hours of this to go. There will be little dry spots in between, as you can see here, toward like Beaver Dam, toward Madisonville, that offers a little bit of a break. But once again, I want you to know, even if you're seeing rain come down and you're thinking, oh my goodness, it's just snow and rain on the roads, what are they going all crazy about? Well, hopefully you don't get on the roads to figure it out. But if you do get on the roads, you're going to figure out real quickly that there's ice on the roads. Even with the salt they're putting down, the road crews are working incredibly hard. We've been seeing them throughout the entire state, especially here in Hardin County. They're working very, very, very hard. But it's really hard to overcome the level of snowfall that we saw this morning. Many folks saw between 4 to 7 inches off the rip. In the first 4 hours. So incredible snowfall rates this morning led to some issues, right? Then we had a period of sleet. Then we had a period of freezing rain. Then we went back to sleet for a lot of folks. And then now we're dealing with thunder freezing rain in a lot of places. I've seen lightning strikes popping up all over southern Hardin County, going to Grayson, Taylor, Hart, and then those folks down there. Newest model data, again, same idea, really. Nothing too much changed since our previous broadcast that we've done several times today. Still shows that sleet and freezing rain through about the 9 to 10 p.m. hour for places along the I-64 corridor and just south. You hold on to that freezing light rain for a while, places like Meade, Breckenridge, central northern Hardin, Bullitt, Shelby, so on and so forth, to Fayette, Louisville and Jefferson County. Still holding on to that freezing rain all the way through the nighttime hours. And even when the dry slot is supposed to occur, this is the problem. Even when the dry slot is supposed to occur, we still see signals of freezing drizzle. All right, so we're supposed to be getting a break, supposed to be warming up in that dry slot, but now models are indicating, and data's been indicating since we've been up since 4 a.m. this morning, that the freezing drizzle chance still exists, even throughout what was supposed to be a dry slot. Pushing into tomorrow morning, the overnight hours going to 4 a.m. on Monday. Snow and freezing drizzle reinforces out in western Kentucky as the low pressure here scoots off to the east. Going up to your sunrise hours on Monday there, 7 a.m. Eastern time. Freezing drizzle and snow now entering the central Kentucky portion of the area. And then going through to the 9 to 10 a.m. Time frame there. Snow and freezing drizzle from the parkways to points north ongoing. And then behind that freezing drizzle, eventually it all converts to just a pure snowfall. And then by about 1 p.m. Eastern time, it should be out of the I-65 corridor. By about 3 p.m. Eastern time, it should start to push east of I-75 corridor. And then by about 5 p.m. on Monday, we're finally done with this extremely long event. It'll end up being about a 36-hour event. So on and so forth. Here is the latest from this model particular. This is not our forecast, but I do want to show you the model just to show you the potential that is existing there. It does show Elizabethtown at about 0.8 inches of ice additional from 5 p.m. and on. So from about 25 minutes ago and on. Lexington 0.6 inches, Evansville 0.43, Paducah 0.15, so on and so forth. And again, it matches up with the forecast we've been putting out since Wednesday of last week. Between the I-64 corridor and the Western Kentucky parkways looks like the absolute bullseye for the potential for over a half inch of ice. So once again, we're not done with this system. Temperatures behind the system. I want to show you this real quickly as well. We do warm up and we get very close to freezing according to this model here by about 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern time. So maybe get able to get a little bit of a brief break there. Maybe some road crews can make some progress there. The problem is, though, when we skip this on forward to Monday, you can see what happens. At Monday at about 11 a.m. Eastern time, we're down below the flash freeze level at 23 degrees, 21 degrees in Lexington, 30 degrees in Somerset, Bowling Green, and Paducah, both at that 25-degree mark, as well as Louisville and everyone in northwestern Kentucky at this point. We go throughout the day on Monday. We do try to warm a little bit, but the clouds are going to help us stay, unfortunately, cool. This is where our usual peak heat would be at 4 to 5 p.m. We're still sitting at 25 in Elizabethtown. And I do want to point out the fact that if we get a snowpack on the ground, which, by the way, you can look outside and see, we do have a snowpack on the ground, and we do have ice on the ground, we do have sleet on the ground, temperatures will run about 10 degrees colder than what you're seeing right here. All right, so you can take a solid 7 to 10 degrees off of these numbers here and probably be pretty accurate. By the nighttime frame on Monday going into Tuesday morning, temperatures absolutely crash. So for those school systems that are looking for information there, you're not going anywhere. Once again, we don't tell schools what to do, but you can take a solid 7 to 10 degrees off of these numbers here as well. And you're looking at below zero in a lot of places that got that snowpack from earlier this morning, that has the ice pack, that has the sleet pack, right? So very, very cold stuff behind this. I do want to take a real quick look at the power outages. We've been tracking this all day. We're here with you. They are going up. I just refreshed it, increased by another 10,000. You can see it's following the same phase that it took this morning, west to east. Western Kentucky, where they're technically above freezing, right? We saw that on the temperatures there. Technically above freezing. They're still having power outages just come all the way in to the studios. Lots of reports there. Warren County starting to really crank up the power outages there, and this will scoot to the northeast overnight. I do expect that we should see power outages approaching the 6 figures. Again, that's absolutely not out of the equation. All right. So that's your update on the power outages, temperatures, and radar. Greg, if you want to pull up the ice map for me, please. We'll talk about the newest ice map.
All kinds of energy. Actually, that's.
I have a monster just fueling me right now. So I will crash eventually. But okay, ice map's up on the screen. Ice map's up on the screen. We did make a few changes to it. Everyone's generally the same. We just added a hatched outline area of where the highest impact zone might be. Once again, it's kind of like what you saw there on that model data. Once again, 0.4 to 0.8 inches is absolutely possible. Again, we hope we're on the lower side of that range. Once you start getting above a half inch of ice, things really begin to become an issue. My power lines are already blowing outside here in Radcliffe. Lots of low-hanging things out there. Limbs are already touching the cars that are usually several feet up in the air. So lots of issues that come as you start approaching that half inch of ice and going over. Ice is extremely heavy, folks. Even a half inch of ice weighs several hundred pounds. Extremely heavy stuff. The snowfall map, as Greg's going to show you here soon, nothing's changed with that. It's been the same forecast since around noon today. Again, we increased some portions to result the increasing snow band that we saw this morning. Once again, we ran about 2 to 3 degrees colder this morning, which is why we saw increased snowfall in some spots. And we're still running about a degree or two behind from what morning data showed us this morning. So again, we're paying attention to the trends. We're updating you so often. All of this information is on our Twitter, on our Facebook. You can check that. And of course, I think at this time, we've kind of recapped a lot of where we're at, where we're heading at throughout the overnight hours. And I think it's a good time to start asking some of these folks some questions here, some of the professionals on what the plans are moving forward.
All right. Well, I mean, hopefully they've got better news than you had. I mean, you kind of just killed that for us a little bit.
I know.
Let's go to the city. We'll go to Chris Denham with the city of Elizabethtown. Chris, can you talk about the roads and what you're seeing in the city right now? Oh, I think.
Yeah, sure. So our crews have been out since about 8:30 this morning. Are you with me?
Yeah, we're with you. We got you now.
Okay. So our crews have been out since about 8:30 this morning. We have roughly between 25 and 30 of our teammates out working directly on road improvements. We're running about 10 pieces of equipment. Our roads in the city, for the most part, are passable, but I still want to say that they are treacherous. I mean, they're snow covered, they're ice covered, and I'm just encouraging everyone, if they do not have to be out, please remain in a safe place. We're talking about power outages in Hardin County. There were roughly 700, I think, at the highest point. I think they've done a really good job at Nolan and KU both. And, we're sitting at around 200 in Hardin County. Western Hardin County has just a few, and then there's some down toward the Hardin-LaRue line that is boasting us up to that 200 line. But overall, I think the city, we're doing quite well. Just want to encourage folks, if you do lose power, just a reminder that the locations for the warming centers are posted on our social media page. There are multiple spread throughout the county. Proceed to those locations, the closest location to you, as safe as possible. If you do not have the ability to get there, we, along with the Hardin County Sheriff's Office, are both willing to provide you with some assistance. The phone number to the Elizabethtown Police Department, if you're needing assistance, they're located in the city, is 270-765-4125. Again, 270-765-4125. For outside the city limits in the county, if you're needing assistance in transportation, you can call Hardin County Control to reach a sheriff's deputy. Their phone number is 270-737-5669. Again, 270-737-5669.
All right, that's a lot of information there. Well, I'm sure we'll come back to you here in a couple of seconds. Joey Scott, Emergency Management Director in the County of Hardin County. You've got quite a few folks there with you. So talk about, I'm seeing a lot of comments coming in here that they are starting to see the power lines weighing down a little bit. What are you seeing out in the county as far as the roads and what are you hearing as far as icing going on the power lines and things?
Yeah, yes, sir. Obviously, in the county, our road's going to be in a little worse shape due to the rural areas of the roadways. Currently we have 453 without power right now in the county districts. Earlier we had over 600 in the ECU area. We're getting calls now from the White Mills area. The power is going out in that area. So it's definitely been a long day so far. We've fielded quite a few calls in the ELC today, and not only power outage calls, but everything from transports to people needing fuel oil for their homes as well. So it's definitely a busy day.
Okay, how does that affect EMS? I know with these roads here, how is that situation handled?
Mark,
we've made about 25 responses so far today, which is not too far for us. And 6 of those were motor vehicle accidents. So definitely a little uptick in the motor vehicle accidents, but we've been able to get access to just about anywhere that we've needed to go so far today, knock on wood. And we've got good support with some of the local volunteer fire departments too, to make sure that we get access to those areas. But so far we're being able to where we need to be.
Let's talk about generator safety a little bit, because I know that's something that, as if we see power outages, the uptick in those, you've got folks that have went out in the last 24 hours and bought a new generator. And, there's a lot of safety that needs to be thought about when you do that. Can you give us a little rundown of some of the critical things they should do if they've got a new generator?
Sure. Obviously, you never want you want to follow all manufacturers' guidelines on those generators and read those manuals through and through when you get those generators before you ever start them. Then don't put them in your garages. Don't put them in your house. Believe it or not, we've had people do that before. And obviously, we understand that people's afraid of somebody taking their generator, but you got to have them outside, and don't don't put your generator right beside your window. You can possibly get exhaust from that generator coming through your window as well.
Yeah, I know. That's always the thing. People worry about those things getting stolen. Carbon monoxide, that's the silent deadly killer right there. George, you got questions you want to share with the guys?
Yeah. Again, I think they hit a lot of things really well there. I was kind of analyzing some new stuff as they're coming in. Power outages are continuing to increase, like Joey said there. Again, I think I know we're talking about Hardin County specifically in some cities within Hardin County, but I think a lot of what we're saying here applies to many folks throughout the state. Truly, so a lot of good information here. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Chris already talked about the warming centers and stuff. And that's good because, again, the power outages are increasing.
Yeah.
I know I was talking really fast earlier, but go ahead, Greg.
I got to. What about the roads? I know that's everybody wants to know, and luckily we're seeing very limited traffic out there. But can you talk about the roads in the county? What has been the plan of action so far, and has that changed as we've shifted over to this freezing rain? Because people want to know, how are the roads? How are the roads? I keep seeing that all over the place. So who can give me an update there?
Yeah, again, that freezing rain can be fool's gold, and because people see that there's, the slush is kind of melting away, but obviously it's freezing again. So we just had 2 wrecks come in as we're on air right now. So we're starting to see more and more collisions out there. Again, don't let some of that earlier snow fool you. Because and obviously, like George said, even tonight, late into the morning, we're going to have a major refreeze as well. So, just you got to slow down if you have to. But the best measure there is to stay home. Stay home with your families and stay off the roadways. I can't stress that enough because there will be a refreeze period. And right now, the Hardin County Road Departments are not out on the roadways. They won't. They're going to make it when the ice stops falling. Around 3 a.m., they're going to make a large push to get some of the roadways cleaned and salted tonight.
So we know for a fact that they definitely need to stay off the roadways till at least tomorrow. Chris, what about the city? Road conditions? I'm sure they're probably doing the same thing as the county and not treating much right now.
As I said earlier, we've been out since about 8:30 this morning. We've got roughly 30 crew members out, 10 pieces of equipment. Going to treat all of our city streets prior to them finishing up this evening, and then they will go back out tomorrow. Speaking on behalf of the police department, we've had roughly 10 weather-related calls for service, whether it be motorist assist and or collisions. Luckily, traffic volume has been very low, as Joey just said, and that's encouraging. I just want to remind folks, as we did yesterday, if your cars are parked along the roadways or the streets, please remove them. He said the county government's going to deploy here at about 3 a.m. and these road crews really have to have a clear path to get out and do what they need to do, and they don't need to have to maneuver around people's vehicles that are parked along the roadway. So please move them. And again, if you don't have to be out, just stay home and be with your family.
Okay, certainly. George, what do you got, man?
I've seen a lot of comments about power dropping rapidly in Radcliffe, and a lot of people are asking about how to safely use kerosene heaters. Do you guys, anyone of the 5 there, have any advice on how to safely use a kerosene heater indoors?
That's fine. Richard, you want to touch on that a little bit about the kerosene? Again, and I think the biggest problem is if you don't have kerosene, that's now's not the time to go out looking for it, because we're dealing county right now that cannot find any kerosene anywhere, and we've actually been on the phone call in Hart County for them, trying to make contact with somebody in Hart County as well. So again, anytime you're heating your home, just try to have a CO monitor in place in your house. Again, like you said, the silent deadly killer is carbon monoxide, and we want you to stay on top of that and protect your families.
Okay.
Yes.
It's that's everybody's trying to get all these supplies at the same time. It makes things rough. But one of the other things, make sure you have got your digital devices charged. If you've got the battery packs, charge those up. Make sure you've got batteries in your flashlight. Get those candles nearby just in case you lose that power. You have those things at the ready, because if the power goes out, it's a little hard to find the flashlight if you don't know where they are. So I'll certainly know where that is.
Right on.
And I see a lot of folks here talking about the ice on the power lines and that. So I think as you mentioned, George, we may see a lot of those things coming up. A lot of power line issues here in the next few hours. I know I could see the guys down there are pretty busy, and I'm sure Chris has got a lot of stuff to do, and I'm sure you got to get back to trying to figure out exactly what the next move is here. Okay.
Right,
Well,
and I just want to touch again as real quick, Greg, just as a recap. There's a lot of people joining right here at the end. Again, we do see temperatures right around freezing right now. We do expect them to warm up just slightly to maybe slightly above freezing, but once again, we do expect that crash right back down once Monday morning arrives. So please do not be fooled by the rising temperatures. For context, Western Kentucky is approximately 1 to 2 degrees above freezing right now, and they're actually having power outages come in rapidly. Because again, things are still frozen on the power lines. Things are still frozen on the ground. Please do not take your weather app and say, "Oh my goodness, it's 34 degrees. I can go out and go get the stuff that I need." One, a lot of places are shut down. Number two, do not be fooled by the temperature that you're seeing or the rain that you're seeing outside. That is not regular rain. That is freezing rain. And as soon as it hits the surface, it's going to be falling on already frozen precipits. So again, it will freeze as well. Just wanted to reiterate that. I see a lot of people coming in here asking some more of those questions about the recap there. Just want to touch on that. We still have several hours to go here, Greg, and we'll be with you guys throughout the entire duration.
all right, good deal. Well, as we shut off here, I want to give a big shout out to whoever's doing the camera work. Who's doing the camera work there at the Hardin County government?
Oh, that's Bailey from Dispatch.
Bailey from Dispatch. They need to massage your arms because you've been holding that camera up for quite a while, and there should be a little extra something in your paycheck for that. So good job.
Thank you.
All right, there's again George Herbig with Weather Now Kentucky, Chris Denham with the city of Elizabethtown, and down there at the bottom, the gaggle of people from the Hardin County government. Again, stay with Weather Now Kentucky and keep up with everything that's going on.